Hello, everyone. This is Jeremy coming at you from Wichita Glee and the National Native Coalition of Men's Programs, talking more about the Uncle Project, which is our public awareness campaign to engage men in violence prevention. So, one of the things that we've been discussing is what's the traditional role of an uncle? And now, one of the stories I've heard in Ojibwe culture is that the parent's primary job, the biological parent's primary job, is for that youngest child. And that our belief is that that love and that bond is never to be broken. So it was always about giving unconditional love to those children, and that you had your aunties and uncles who are part of that role of being the disciplinarians and teachers in that. And so that belief and that structure really helped create very strong and competent children who knew that they were loved and cared about and those kind of things, right? So if you all or anyone who was like me, right, we got in trouble as growing up. And anytime that we got in trouble in our family, it was always our uncles who were the ones who were, really right there to straighten us out a little bit, right? Like they were, you know, one time we got caught doing graffiti. Me and my cousin, we had to pay a fine. They were teasing us every time at family gathering about, oh, you had to pay that $100 fine. You could have had a gold-plated marker for that amount of money, right? So they kept doing that. Or they'd harass you, they'd duff you up a little bit, tease you, rough house, those kind of things, just to kind of keep you in line. And, it was nothing that was ever really malicious or bad, but, they called you out on your behavior. Sometimes they did a little bit of shaming, a little bit of teasing, but they never went so far to try to ruin who you were as a person. And that's one of the things that we're talking about is how do we bring this stuff back into our community in a role that really helps and address some of the problems we see, and we don't shame our children. And also, how can we be there as guiders and teachers? And so I also think of the uncles who were my role models, ones who were very responsible. I had the uncles who go and teach me sports and boxing, basketball, those who were good role models about being in healthy relationships. And so we think of all those things in our family and in our relationship, as children to our uncles. But also, as we start spreading out this conversation across the country, we start hearing different things. There's the uncles were always there. They always stopped by to visit to make sure the kids were okay. They were the ones who taught the language, and they did a lot of the stuff through storytelling. And so those things, it occurred, right? So you had all the fun stuff of being a father, but without the child support, right? So those are some of the things we're talking about having that role of being a good uncle. So please go ahead and share some of your thoughts on what are traditional roles of being a good uncle, and maybe some of the qualities that make someone a good uncle, and use the hashtag Indian Uncle Project. And so, yes. Oop, I lost my screen. There we go. All right. So yes, there's a hashtag Indian Uncle Project, and we hope you engage in the conversation and share some of your thoughts with this as we go on and continue this throughout the month. Big witch. Thank you.